Did that go over air?
Speed.
Whoa, hope that didn't go over air. Welcome into the KSR Football Podcast. A lot of spicy things going on behind the scenes for the Kentucky football program. Lots of spicy things happening in Nashville. Lots of spicy tacos. Drew, did you enjoy your tacos? More tacos or barbecue?
I had 0 tacos and I had 0 barbecue in the great state of Austin, Texas.
Oh, brother.
I got my protein through other methods. Didn't do a lot of eating for 3 days, but had a great time. Loved everything but the football down there.
I don't think I'm going to be able to eat barbecue for like a month. Every dish I had, like brisket was somehow involved in it.
Did you do the wait for one of the big ones, like Franklin's or Terry Black's or one of the events?
We didn't have to wait very long for Terry Black's. It was like at the one we got in Dallas was a little bit better batch.
Agree.
Yeah, it was just a little bit better batch, but we still enjoyed it. 3 meats after 13 beers will really.
What did you eat? Anything?
Yeah, wait, did you just didn't?
Nothing.
I will say the food at the place we were at Friday night was good, and that would have been dangerous.
Lavaca Street?
Yeah, the quesadillas there, fantastic. We're going to talk about our trip to Austin. We're going to talk about Mark Stoops naming Cutter Boley to start it for the Governor's Cup. We're going to throw our L's down, but let's talk about Austin first, because that was fun.
Sorry for you. I don't know if I've told you this before.
Did you? Why didn't you go to Austin, Max? That was
wasn't covered in the budget, and I had a game to win on Friday night.
Y'all took care of business, right?
Oh.
Well, TCB.
Business. It was insane. I don't know if anyone's ever done that to Mayfield before. And it was just weird.
Brag about it. Tell us what happened.
Genuinely weird to win by that much down in Mayfield. Like, the whole week I heard, for 5 weeks I heard, we got to go to Mayfield. It's going to be terrible. They're going to throw stuff at us, which they did. They're going to fight us, which they did. And they're going to beat us. They didn't do that part. We won by 40. And it was just a blowout from the start. But we had, it was 16 penalties to 1, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, here's my Austin story. Okay.
Real quickly. Shout out Cubcast. Did not see a Boyle County loss on the card.
Number 13 team in the country.
That was nutty. So 4A wide open. Paducah Tillman, that might be for the taking for them. But that was a heck of a win. Quisenberry, future Cat, he did everything for them. And when he went to run in the go-ahead score, he fumbled it out of the end zone, which was just brutal way to end the season.
No one would have seen that coming. I would love to see what that paid.
Oh, the money line? Cubcast money line against Boyle? Oh. Would have been nuts.
What was up with your all's extracurricular activities down there? I've heard stories of you getting a little chippy.
Were you starting stuff, Max?
No.
Do we need to go? Did anyone hit you? Do we need to make a trip?
They literally offered me a police escort back to my car, and I said, I think I'll be fine. I'll just take the LCA jacket off, I guess, in case they do come and bottle me or something. But no, they were literally on the fence, It was a push and shove between the coaches and the fans from Mayfield. And I was like, can we all relax here? We had to call a timeout so we could just get all the players and basically tell our fans to stop throwing shit at them. And am I allowed to say that word?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Get away with a couple.
It's a podcast.
It was insane. There was some drunk people down in Mayfield, and they were not very happy that they were losing for the first time in a long time.
Wow. Rowdy atmosphere down in Mayfield, but the LCA Golden Fighting Eagles got it done. Now a former LCA quarterback, going to be in the saddle for the Cats. I want to hear your Austin story.
Thank you. I think I've told Drew this before, but pre-UK, 2015 or something, I fly to Austin, and I'm going to the F1. And so we planned to go to the F1 in Austin, have a good time. One of the big drivers for F1, Daniel Ricciardo, from Perth, Australia. Know him pretty well, right?
No, Mr. Ricciardo.
Comes, I play professional football. He'd come, socialise with the guys, whatever. And so we go down there, we talk to him, and we're like, hey, man, going to come see you. He gave us a few tickets, whatever. Anyway, it pours down with rain, and the weather is terrible. So they have to delay the F1 by 2 days or a couple days or something. And so we're walking around, obviously having a good time, like Drew probably did in Austin. And we walk into a bar, and there he is, Daniel Ricciardo, the richest man in racing, just hammered, just destroyed on a Thursday before the race. And we said, firstly, why are you drunk? He said, well, they've delayed it for a couple of games. And 2, why are you in this bar? This bar is the worst bar in Austin. He said,
we're here.
Dude, $1 shots. Can't get better than that.
I got to say, the beer prices everywhere in Austin, even in the game, was it $6 inside the stadium, Drew? It wasn't. They were inexpensive. from what sources
especially
told
in
KSR.
the stadium. I was a little surprised. Kid in front of me got a hot dog. I'm writing about this in a little recap of the other stuff, but the hot dog was green. This little kid, I met him and his dad, and we even encouraged him to go back to the concession stand and be like, what the heck is this? So he did, and they were basically like, sorry, kid, we have green hot dogs here. But it was a color that your protein should never be.
Was it the Earl Campbell sausage? Because we heard that there's an Earl Campbell sausage that was like wrapped in a tortilla.
No, this was your basic hot dog that was just bun and a dog in it. But the dog was a shade of green that should never be associated with a protein, certainly not pork. So the prices were good, but I'm a little worried about bacteria and Kentucky fans' lingering effects from that.
So the prices were cheap because they were green glizzies.
Oh, yeah. Now, before the game, there was a tailgating at a beer garden.
Heard about this beer garden.
So many UK fans. If there were 2,000 people there, all but 2 of them were Kentucky fans. And they were serving these gigantic beer steins. And I went in to buy a round of them, and they were already out of them. So I got to go around and collect them off tables, wash them myself, and then have them fill them to take them back out to Kentucky fans. That's how crazy UK fans were getting after it before the game.
So it's the most road fans I've ever seen at a game. Now, I wasn't at the Ole Miss game 2 years prior. You were.
Yes.
And you all both think that, a few more at that Ole Miss game than maybe this one at Austin. But this one was close.
The thing with Ole Miss is you're just all in the same spot. So it feels like you got the town square and you got the Grove. Austin was pretty scattered. You know, we're on Rainey Street. We got friends on 6th Street. Then the stadium's so damn big, it's a whole day just to do a lap around the stuff outside. Yeah. So I think it's pretty close. Both turnouts are good. It was just kind of hard to have everybody in one spot in Austin, whereas Ole Miss is just much smaller.
And the crowd, I think, the Ole Miss game, all the Kentucky fans, I felt like were on like the visitor sideline. With this game, they had them spread out just all throughout.
Right.
There were a lot of Kentucky fans there, and you could hear them when good things were happening for Kentucky. Just did not get a chance to have a lot of good things.
Did they end up putting the Kentucky fans like right up the top? Like
yes.
Yeah, they had one section that was filled lower, and then they were just all over. I think both sides had a bunch of them up top.
Yeah. But like the top rows of my side, we had all Texas fans in front of us, but the 20 rows at the top. I'm not exaggerating. I think I took 6 escalators just to get to our steps to go to the top. And I got to confess something. I left early. We went downstairs to the concourse, and we have a big group. And I was like, if I go down those steps, I ain't coming back. So we hung around a little bit, and we're at a bar by the end of the game. But that stadium is massive.
Yeah.
I've never done Neyland. I know they're pretty comparable, at least with capacity. But I've never really been in a place that big. It was gigantic.
The scale, like everything's bigger in Texas, felt very apropos.
I think standing in the stadium and looking up, I felt like Neyland looks bigger.
Yeah, but Texas feels like.
But on the outside, Texas's stadium.
DKR looks like a castle from the outside, like this fortress of football that is impenetrable. You know, like it is massive. And the thing that's weird about Texas, too, is there's not a traditional tailgating setup because it's in the middle of downtown. And I haven't done a ton of NFL games, but it very much had an NFL tailgate kind of vibe to it because you mentioned the beer garden.
Yeah, so many people there. That's just not something you do in the SEC usually.
Yeah, I was going to say this is going to be maybe a stupid statement off the top of my head, but it's probably the only SEC team in a big city, right?
It's Vandy,
they don't count Vandy, yes.
Right.
But like, it's probably.
They don't have the numbers.
Right.
I bet it's the biggest college town in America. I mean, Columbus and Ohio State are probably the only things that are comparable.
Did you all even see what you would consider standard tailgating? Like, I didn't see any pop-ups with just people.
Parking garage.
Yeah, outside of a parking garage.
But that's it. It was like 5 of those, and that's all we saw.
They had Bevo Boulevard with all the freebies. What was it? Smokies Midway or something like that?
I think it was just the Midway. Mm-hmm. And then they had a stage where they had some Texas country band playing. That was packed.
It was jam-packed. And they had like a little grandstand for all the boosters, too, where they could go up and do their thing. Which actually, I think like it makes it easier for visitors because it's not like Mississippi State or something where you have to have a tailgate spot or there's just no point in going to the game. Here, they've got all this entertainment options for you that you kind of can just show up and figure it out, you know?
It was very NFL feel, and I know Drew could probably speak to this, but I heard from the Kentucky fans that went that they've been in crazier atmospheres. It wasn't necessarily the loudest stadium, but the in-game presentation and just how everything was set up, concession prices, it was a fun and enjoyable experience. I thought
big scoreboard.
I thought the big screen entertainment was awesome. I mean, just throughout the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like the little graphics popping up.
I love the animatronic Bevo.
Yeah.
It was cheesy, but I loved it.
And during their breaks, they ain't talking about academics. They just have fun stuff going on. Their band is incredible. It was just completely from a game day atmosphere. I've never seen anything like it. I don't travel to many road games. I was at that Ole Miss one, but it's comparing apples to helicopters, Texas and Ole Miss.
I loved. We got to talk about Friday night. We'll talk about the game.
I was going to say, and that's the breakdown of the game. Thanks. That's all we got time for.
Because Friday night was an all-time night for the KSR crew. I mean, really one for the books. I still can't believe it happened, Drew.
That was wild. We didn't do a good job of keeping our location low-key. We were worried. We had a bar commit to showing the basketball game on TV, and we knew there wouldn't be many of those bars, so we wanted to make sure we had a seat before it got too crowded. But eventually there were Kentucky fans on shoulders. There were no tables, so you just had to stand up and linger. And there was other bars like this too, but the one we were at called Lavaca Street had so many people, and it's a 50-point blowout. We were all having so much fun.
From start to finish, people getting rowdy.
Kobe Bryant just causing a ruckus in there every time.
Trent Noah and Travis Perry with the exclamation points at the end.
The Luckett squad was in there.
Luckett squad was there.
They helped delete a few beers with the rest of us.
It was still happy hour too, so buckets were like $13. I mean, that place was. They sold some product.
I did lose $1 though. I met a KSR listener on his bachelor party. So I said, "Hey, let's rip a shot. Let me buy you a shot. Thanks for listening at your bachelor party. Hope you'll have a great time." Me and him walked to the bar together. Well, one of the other guys showed up from the group. I'm like, "Oh, what's up? Nice to meet you." "Oh, sure, we get 3. I can afford 3. 2 more guys showed up. 2 more guys showed up. And I'm thinking, man, I want to be generous. Oh, they were also all like military. They were telling me where they were deployed. And I just tugging on all
you're doing it for the troops.
And I'm looking at my wife at the table. She's like, "What are you doing?" And next thing you know, the bar is just full of maker shots. And I still haven't looked at what that damage was. But I would do it 10 out of 10 times again, meeting those guys. There were a lot of bachelor parties around there too.
Yeah, we had a friend where they were a little rough. Day 2 of their bachelor party. There was a lot of people. It reminded me of an SEC tournament type atmosphere. I felt like I was on Broadway watching the game that's going on right around the corner. I think it would be awesome if they played it at the Moody Center. I know the SEC likes to, all right, we got new territory. We got to branch ourselves out. Like, if they're going to do it in a city in Texas, Austin would, I know it's the home of the Longhorns, but, like, come on. The Moody Center, that's a cool-looking arena. If you haven't been to Austin yet, like, it might be fun to go down there for the basketball game.
It's a Saturday night and they play too.
Yeah, like take a few days early. It'll be warm down there in January or February, whatever it is.
It's not hard to get to, but it's also fun to drive. 14 hours from Louisville. Me and Roush had a good old time. Went to Texarkana. Slept in Arkansas, ate dinner in Texas.
Oh, yeah. It's a great bit.
Did you get some Tyson Nugs while you were in Arkansas?
No.
Some Razor Nugs?
No Razorback Nuggets while we were there.
We went to Hooters in Texarkana, and it was exactly what you think a Hooters experience in Texarkana would be.
Oh, man. The guy at the bar wearing the Cowboys hoodie, his eyes were looking at me and looking at the Hooters waitress.
He was the only man on earth who thinks Mike Tomlin is a bad coach.
Yeah.
And he was telling everyone about it.
Buddy. It was wearing me out. But we got to watch snow football. That was nice. Shout out to Officer Ortiz, who decided to pull me over but say, "You know what, buddy, you just get a warning, not a real ticket." So that was nice. I appreciated the hospitality. The people were very nice in Texas. And the Friday night just... Is the podcast, is Max on the hot seat, Luckett?
I'm showing Max this picture right now. Max, you were replaced by Backstreet Boy.
I think we've got a new podcast host because we learned Kevin Richardson, Backstreet Boy, also big fan of the show. So hi, Kevin, nice to see you. It was one of those moments too where you see Kevin Richardson walk in and then like all of a sudden the women are following right behind him and you're like, all right, like just play it cool, We'll say hey later. He's chatting with Drew, and everything's going fine. And I was going to talk to you about something, and I just went to say something to you about the game, and he was like, "What's up, man? How's it going? Good to see you." And turns out he's a big fan of the show.
Well, you were walking towards, both of you were, and I saw you, and I'm like, "Oh, you got to meet Nick and Adam that work for KSR." And he acted insulted that I would even suggest that you all need to meet. He's like, "What are you talking about? I know who they are. I was listening to 11 Personnel on my way in."
Big fan of the podcast. We're big fans of him, but there was like that was the whole night, was just hanging out with Kevin Richardson, talking ball.
I told this story on the pregame show. I don't know if you heard this. He's a star. He tried to relate. So he did a show, obviously, in Australia, Backstreet's Back, right?
Yeah.
And tried to relate to the fans by telling them a story about a guy that played for his favourite football team in UK, and he won the Ray Guy Award, and basically waited for everyone to be like, yeah. And everyone was like, we have no idea what that is. Don't know what college football is. And literally just crickets. It was so funny.
See, he's got our backs, and my favorite part of the night was, halfway through our football chat, and he's talking about how happy he is to be coaching football now that he's not on tour for a little bit. They're about to crank a tour back up, but at one point we're chatting. He looks at me and he's like, "Man, I just love what you guys do. If I wasn't doing this, I'd love to have your job. That's awesome. You just get to talk football the whole time." And I look at Luckett and I'm like, this dude's a freaking rock star. And is he want to hop in the Nissan and go drive 2,000 miles and go podcast? Like, what?
You think it's easy doing this like that? Yeah. You think it's easy
this
being
ain't no hobby, Mr. Richardson.
I would happily trade with him if he did want to do it. If he wants to put that on the table, we'll sign.
But it was that's just like the tip of the iceberg of the Friday night conversations with Kevin Richardson.
If I could butt in, there were a lot of people wanted to talk about the current state of football while we were all these UK fans. So Kentucky basketball is up by 50 on the TV, but a lot of people are talking about, what are we going to do tomorrow? What's the future of Stoops? There are even a few heated UK football conversations. I was a part of some of them, but then Kevin Richardson would just be in the middle of the group listening. It was just so random, but so much fun.
No, my favorite part was, I don't know, we were never talking about running back depth chart or how good I think this player can be.
Some deep cuts.
And random Karens are coming up just getting pictures with Kevin, and he's taking pictures with them, and we're talking while he's taking pictures.
So you think that guy's you think he's got the sub?
And so
did he have a good take? Did he have a hot take? Why these females are total could not believe they're meeting Kevin Richardson. We are sitting here talking about Kentucky running backs.
He's a big fan of Wilcox. Big fan of Wilcox.
Who isn't?
Yeah. So that was fun. Maybe we'll get him on the show one time. Maybe we'll get on his show one time. We'll trade. I know that happens a lot of time in the business. You go on somebody else's show, they go on yours. So I'll work on my Backstreet's Back. You work on your Jamarian Wilcox hot takes, Mr. Richardson, and we'll do a little crossover event next summer.
While you all are tripping over all these names we're dropping and fanboying over Kevin Richardson, Josh Hopkins, our other famous fan, he's the one that actually set up that whole party. So shout out to him for getting those
Josh.
Tables reserved.
That was pretty great. It was a very fun night. It was a weird night, but it was very fun. Just getting Cats Chant started in a crowded bar.
As they're hitting another three-pointer on TV.
Oh, my gosh. It felt so good. And you're like, man, what if we beat Texas the next day?
Yeah.
What if? Oh. You got that, you get that oh, man, if they did that, that would freaking rock.
That's the staple of any road trip, I think, is the Friday night.
Talking yourself into it.
This is going to happen, man. This is going to happen. We're
going to take over this town.
Yeah. I think that was about 11 p.m. That was flowing hard, I think, on 6th Street for a lot of Kentucky fans.
We got optimistic there for a night. We were Cats chanting our way into believing in it.
Unfortunately, it did not happen. We got
The one unique thing about that, usually Friday night, you get amongst the locals, the local fans.
Yeah.
Felt like it was just
all
that SEC
UK
tournament.
fans.
To your point, it was just all Kentucky fans. So that was kind of fun.
Oh, Friday during the day, you have nothing else to do but walk these streets full of bars, and we just popped in one. We saw some UK fans on a balcony. We're like, we hear live music. UK fans, this looks like the one. We walk in, the musician was from Lexington, and a lot of people in my crew knew. He drove down just to play in Austin. So Austin was such a good host. They were flying our flags. I didn't expect that. They're booking our bands. It was just so much more Kentucky flair than I imagined having all the way down in Texas.
Yeah, so if you made the road trip, congrats. I hope we got to talk for a little bit. I felt like I did talk to just hundreds of you out there, which made it a great experience. And then the game happened. So I guess we're going to talk about the game. Kentucky lost 31-14. Is that right?
That's right.
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, we were all over that score, Drew, but didn't nail it. I think we both had 34-14. You had 34-10. So we were sniffing in the right territory. Didn't nail the pregame score predictions, but the Cats, bad second quarter, things snowballed, and they fell down 24-7. What would have otherwise been a pretty close game up until that point, and it's you could just feel it happening. Like as Brock Vandegrift gets picked off. I thought it was a great interception by the Texas defense, but getting going against that defense was hard. Yeah, it was hard to get anything done. And then you've got the Maxwell Harrison penalty that takes 4 point. I mean, it's a 4-point penalty, leads to a Texas touchdown, and things got away from them in a hurry there at the end before half.
Again, the middle eight was, I thought, the difference in the football game. Texas goes 10-0 into the second quarter. Kentucky has a chance to go score. First drive with Cutter Boley, get the penalty, the holding call. It eliminates a red zone possession. So that was kind of where the game kind of got away from them. I think they showed some good fight there in that third quarter and into the fourth. But again, offense can't finish drives. And so that leaves you a little bit frustrated. And then defensively, they just felt like they were just outmanned almost a little bit when you kind of watch that game in totality. I thought Texas on the line of scrimmage really dominated both sides of the football, and that made it, I think, for tough sledding for Kentucky.
That Hairston penalty was kind of infuriating. Yeah. I mean, no one could hear me where I was sitting, but I was screaming pretty loudly at that one. You know, Notre Dame's got the play like a champion sign they all hit. We need a sign that says stop hitting people in the back of the head before Kentucky walks out of the locker room, because we've seen that more times than you should this year.
He did get smacked first.
He did, but you got to know that that's baiting you.
They always catch the second guy.
Well,
the guy who reacts to it. They
like
always catch him.
I was telling Nick on our drive home, you probably didn't see this on TV, but I'm sure you saw it. Like Berrien and the Texas D-backs were fighting almost every play to start the game. So finally the officials said enough, and they flagged them both, and they did offsetting. So after that happens, it's like you can't react at all, because before then they'll probably just let it go, but after then they were calling anything and everything, and Kentucky got hit with one.
That was unfortunate. There was a couple other instances that were as well. I felt like I almost died right there, just while you all were talking. Like my body was just like. So things are going to get weird here in a minute. Just prepare for that, people. I don't know where my brain's.
Bus.
Yeah, my brain's going to someplace else.
The game kind of.
Over here, we're doing a podcast.
All right, we're good.
It sadly kind of just went how we thought it was going to go. Like there's always bold predictions, and it kind of just went exactly like we had a great bold prediction during the week. I must say, I want to bring it up. From Matt Jones. He said, I can see this going one of two ways. The game's going to be close or we're going to get blown out. Thanks, Matt.
As opposed to...
That's a big call.
Kentucky could blow them.
Yeah, I mean, option 3, I guess, was we could blow them out. But, Matt, that was good. And he said, hey, I saw it exactly how it was going to go. Yeah, you did. I guess you did. But it went, it literally just kind of...
Well, and it wasn't even like the Texas they weren't really flashy about it. They kind of just demoralized you. Yeah. Because defensively...
That 8-minute drive or whatever, 10-minute drive.
Yeah, that was really... It felt like to me in the Tennessee game, too. How Tennessee went on that long drive in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Now, the game, Tennessee was still a one-possession game, where this one was a little different, but it was just frustrating. And again, I just thought it was all of the offensive line. They just ran it 15 times. Kentucky couldn't stop it.
No, they could not stop them running the football. And then offensively, you put in Cutter Boley in the second half. You get a little spark. He's immediately sacked and then immediately throws a 43-yard pass. It was just, I thought it was going to be deer in the headlights. And then he's slinging it around, and you think they've really got something going. And that's when he made the best throw I've seen a Kentucky quarterback make in a while. All-out blitz coming. He scrambles, buys some time, hits, was it Willie Rodriguez?
Yes.
On a rope down the field, gets about 30-plus yards.
Small window throw. There was 3 Texas defensive backs.
Yeah.
He had to hit that in a small window, drills the throw. And then, really, really impressive.
Flag on the play, holding, penalty, erases the big gain, kind of stalls the drive. But you had lots of those moments, Max, where you're like, all right, like, the ball's just over Dane Key's fingertips, and he's not able to complete the long 3rd and 20 conversion. But, like, damn, that was a hell of a play.
He made the routine plays look a lot more routine than they've been to me. And it's going to be awesome to see him start this game against Louisville. Like, there was 2 sides of the coin, I guess. Some people were saying don't throw him in the fire at Texas. I know as a former player, that's what you want to do. Like, you want to get in there and experience it, and if anything, you're going to get better from those kind of experiences. Like, just throw him in there, let the best D-line in the country almost go after him and give him a taste of what it's like. And I mean, he's fine. I mean, that's what he came in to do, play quarterback for us. So to me, it gives us a chance of keeping him, first of all, because he's leaving if we don't play him. And then, secondly, we just look better with him, to me, and it gives us a chance for Louisville, which will be great because all the talk will be about freshman quarterback coming in and playing, and then we beat him again and get to laugh at the end of Saturday.
I wanted him to start, too. And even his interception at the end, you're just trying to force something. I'm not even going to give him credit for really having an interception because at that point in the game, it's just...
Yeah, it was a prayer. Yeah.
You're just trying to make something happen. Whereas Vandegrift, I thought, he had a couple plays that he hit, but I thought his interception was bad. Just the two of them rolling out and just like their composure. It's somehow, I think the freshman looked better than Vandegrift does throwing on the run.
We saw him uncork 3 go balls. First one's completed to Berrien Brown. Second one I thought was really close to ended up being a catch. Third one was the safety was over top. He was just trying to make a play. But all of those you saw were on a line, where in the area of the receiver where the receiver had a chance to make it, and you saw the arm talent, how he can uncork it. Like, that's exciting. I think there were some Justin Herbert kind of play style comps. Like, you could see, to me, I could see some of that. Big arm, mobile, athletic, can throw on the run, plays with a swagger and a confidence. And so he looks like a guy that can be a potential program pillar. And for me, like, what is the path to, like, this offseason not just being totally toxic and negative? It's him coming out
and being
this
good
week and playing well and leading them to a win against Louisville.
I will say, just quickly, for Brock's purposes, I think he had a worse injury than we thought.
Yes, I agree.
At some point during the year. Like, I think there might have been a shoulder come out of place. And he can't, look at him against Murray State when he tried to unleash one. Like, he can't, that's not his fault. Clearly, he can throw a ball like that. He can't throw. His shoulder's screwed. So, what are you supposed to do?
There's some stuff with Brock where I'm just like, he looks shell-shocked, and I can't blame him. That first sack, he was sacked in the time that it takes for Peak to throw the ball from there to here. It was no time. He didn't, takes the snap and is just on his ass immediately because nobody blocked the guy right in front of their face. So, there's some of it where I feel bad for him, and I can't necessarily say that it's all his fault. A lot of it's on the other people around him, but clearly that's not there. And sometimes I think that subbing the backup in for a spark is a bunch of bull crap, but you saw a lot more juice on that offense once Cutter Boley came into the game. And not to put everything on Cutter Boley's shoulders, and some of it might be hyperbole, best quarterback since Tim Couch, but, let's face it, Mark Stoops, he did the hard part when it came to rebuilding this team. He's done this without a quarterback. Maybe Cutter is the best quarterback Stoops has had. Maybe this is a guy to build your future around. They can get people to kind of exhale and be optimistic after the worst year in almost 10 years of the Mark Stoops tenure.
Well, in the short term, I think for the Louisville game, it's clear he's the better option on the field. But we talk about the mood in the locker room, guys checked out, maybe making a change and saying, you're our guy, that can fire him up for one more week. We don't have a postseason. You got 1 week to give everything you have, and maybe the change to Boley will help bring that out of a lot of guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anything, all the guys in the locker room would be, if you put Brock out there, it's like, well, same old. What are we going out there for? But you make a change, and guys... There's a lot of guys in that locker room that will tell themselves lies and just be falsely optimistic. You can be falsely optimistic when you throw in a new quarterback because they're like, oh, this guy's going to be so much better. Now, whether that works or not, I don't know, but at least you give them that optimism.
Yeah, one thing I'm watching to see if it translates, he threw for 160 yards against the top 5 Texas defense, averaged over 8 yards per attempt, had 5 explosive completions. This is the number 1 pass defense in college football. Louisville is a defense. They've played 8 ACC games and Notre Dame. 5 teams have thrown for at least 290 yards. 4 teams have averaged over 9 yards per attempt.
Ron English defense, baby.
So now the weather is going to be a factor in this game. It's going to be below freezing temperatures. There's going to be a little bit of a wind that could affect both teams, but this feels like a game that you could maybe have a passing game performance that you haven't had yet. Now, they'll have to see it, and they haven't scored, 21 points. So it's hard to put a lot of faith into that. But if you kind of see them play and attack like they did in that second half against Texas with Boley, you can maybe see where, hey, they could conceivably have some success against a Louisville defense that has given up a lot of explosive plays this year.
You know who really helps the Cats have some success. Club Blue NIL. They're the official collective partner of the University of Kentucky, and it was founded by UK fans strictly to support the NIL efforts at UK. And unlike most collectives, 100% of subscriber money and 100% of donor money, it goes directly to NIL. Club Blue, they don't charge any fees at all, and they have great perks for their members, whether it's pregame meet and greets, merchandise, access to exclusive events. Club Blue, they are here to support Big Blue Nation and support your Kentucky Wildcats. So head on over to clubbluenil.com. Pick the sport you want to support. Sign up today. It's big time for the NIL coffers this time of year. There's going to be a lot of negotiating going on in the month of December, and a little bit can go a long way with our friends at Club Blue. clubbluenil.com. I wanted to ask you, Max, because the other part of this, you talked about, you know, some of the guys maybe getting a little bit more excited, too, about the change. That, like, all right, we're making this to help you guys win this ball game. But I'm just curious it feels like they really, like, everybody over there really gets fired up for this Louisville game. So, like, why do you think that is, and what exactly is it that they're just like, we are going to kick this team's ass. I don't care what they're ranked, what their record is. We're going to go bully them for 4 quarters of football.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there's a disdain for Louisville. Like, we don't like them, and we've been able to beat them. And it's almost now, it's like that kind of, you want to keep that going. Like, it's almost a pride thing of, like, we have stomped on them for the last 7 years. How many games have we won in a row? 6 or 7?
5, 6 and 1 in the last 7.
Okay. And it's just like, we're not going to let that slip. And I think that that's what all the guys, and whether the season's great, the season's bad, the season's mediocre, whatever it is, you've got that game in the end of the year where you can finish on a good point. And I think that's what they're going to do this week and beat Louisville, and everyone's happy. And you get to be the king of the state, and everyone loves it. I mean, I think we'll win this game pretty comfortably. I don't think they're very good, and I think Cutter's going to be great for us. And I just think that the guys get fired up for it no matter what. You're never going to see a flat Kentucky against Louisville.
There's just, I feel like there's a we're better than you and we know it kind of mindset that you don't see this Kentucky team play with.
The SEC, ACC thing too.
Yeah, like I think there's very much a like, we play real football, go have fun in that powder puff league, you dorks. That's what it feels like, the vibe, the mentality, the mindset you get. And I think to go back to what you wrote about after the game, like when it comes to the run defense, I think Kentucky's defense has lost that edge a little bit. And if you get that back from this game and you make them one-dimensional, that really helps because their running back's good. There's really no other way to cut it. The kid they got from high school, like, he is an explosive player. And if you're giving up explosive chunks in the run game again, I think that's where you really get into the danger zone with this game.
Yeah, that's why I think Louisville's going to score. I don't think you're holding them 17 or less. So it comes down to, can you score? Now, I think a good thing about this matchup, Kentucky has consistently had their best offensive performance against power conference teams against Louisville, like almost every year. And so what does that mean for this year with Cutter Boley making his first start? To me, it's like, if you can get to 24, I think Kentucky feels like they have a really, really good chance to win the game. If you get to 28, I think they feel absolutely outstanding about the chance to win the game. So that's the question you got to ask. Can they get to 24? Can they get to 28? Now, again, like we talked about, Louisville has had, some bad moments, some glitchy moments on defense where they've given up a lot of points and they've given up a lot of yards to teams that maybe aren't scoring a lot of points and getting a lot of yards. But Kentucky's going to have to do something that they didn't do against any SEC team, which is score more than 2 touchdowns in a game. And so how do you go about that? But maybe that's not the whole way. Can you get a Barry Brown kick return?
Right. I was going to say, does the first kickoff go to him?
I mean,
could they even risk kicking it to him?
Can he stay on his feet and not drop the ball? What was that?
I mean, he recovered that against Texas, but it's like he just threw it out there.
That was a touchdown. He had to beat the kicker, and he would have scored. Think about the difference in the game. If it's 24-14 at half, you get the ball first at a halftime.
Just a year ago we saw it. Turnovers really helped out last year, too.
Yeah, and that's another thing Kentucky's had in this game is I think they're +6 turnover margin during the winning streak.
And that's with a Leary arm punt last year.
Yeah,
too.
They were plus 2 last year. They've been plus 2 or more in a lot of these games.
J.J. Weaver did half of those by himself last year. What do you have, 2 fumbles caused, 2 fumbles recovered?
He's this close to 5 touchdowns, and he has 0.
He's trying, doing his best.
I know. For JJ's sake, we need to get him a defensive touchdown in this game. Last game is Wildcat Senior Day, which that's just a Senior Day in the COVID eligibility era. I want to go through and say, look at the list of guys who are going through Senior Day, but how many already went through Senior Day? Mm-hmm. Eli's gone through it, right?
Yeah.
De'Eric Jackson went through it last year.
Did other Cox go through it last year?
Yeah, I would assume he did.
I mean, it's just trying to keep up with this. I'm pretty sure JJ's on Senior Day. Can you run Senior Day back? I don't. It's
might do a post where I rank the J.J. Weaver Senior Days. The top 5 J.J. Weaver Senior Days.
Do that and then rank the DeAndre Square jersey numbers.
That's true.
We can do that.
Big DeAndre Square guy to this day.
Oh, let's rank the Luke Fortner hairstyles. What do we think about Luke's new cut, Max?
He's rocking your cut at the moment.
He even took it back even shorter.
Yeah.
He went from straight comb over to straight razor.
Yeah, he made a call that it's just not happening anymore. He said he always used to joke he never wants to be Stoops. So he just said, I'm not doing this anymore, and got rid of it all. I'm going down to see him. They're playing the Jets in a couple weeks. I'm going down to see him. So
that's a good game to go watch, too. You got
I'm just going to consume some liquids and just yell at Aaron Rodgers the whole time. Whole time.
J.J. Weaver was a part of the 2022 Senior Day.
2022, yeah. 2 Senior Days ago.
I'm looking at pictures of him 2 Senior Days ago.
The last time Kentucky played Louisville. What happened in that Kentucky Louisville game?
J.J. Weaver had a sack fumble and almost scored a touchdown.
That was when Levis ran for 4 touchdowns, right?
That was 21.
Yeah.
What?
The Weaver year was last year at Louisville.
No, I know, but
what are you at with
22?
22 was the Josh Caddish stiff arm.
And Matt Ruffalo got the baseball bat for kicking all the field goals.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
You know, when you beat them so often, they kind of run together. Kind of forgetting which is which
and
now.
Honestly, the wins at UK feel less significant than the ones at U of L, too. Because they're always dogs at Louisville. What happens?
What is the spread?
3.5.
3.5. Louisville minus 3.5.
Home dogs. The dogs are barking in Lexington, right?
This will be, the 4th time that Kentucky's been a dog in the last 7 years?
What appliance am I going to buy this year with my winnings?
16, 17, 21.
And 23.
23, 5th time in the last 7.
5th time in the last 7 years. They've won outright 4 of those times. So the money line has been really good for the accounts. What all have you gotten with all of your winnings, Drew? A fridge?
Well, the fridge was last year. That was the first, maybe the beginning of an appliance.
Was it your down payment on the house the year before?
Not quite.
It's about that time.
I wish I'd put that much on it, but no, I didn't go that much all in. But no, I did buy a nice fridge from Lowe's on, I guess it would have been Cyber Monday, right after the game. This year, I don't know what we need. I'll check with Abby. I'm sure I'll money line it. Maybe a little Cutter Boley passing over, team total over, parlay all that, and end up getting something nice.
My favorite moment in this series, there's been some funny moments, but after Lamar fumbled in 2016, we went to a karaoke bar, and I felt like death. Like, it was 3 times worse than what I feel now, but Lamar fumbled. I got to go out and celebrate. And it's a karaoke bar, and just the saddest, drunkest Louisville fan is on stage, literally wiping away tears, singing "Hurt So Good."
Hope they give us more of those moments.
It was a great moment at Patrick's. Oh gosh, I'll never forget it. Does the Walmart shirt? Is there special occasions where we get to wear the Crying Jordan shirt? How does that work?
I actually just laid eyeballs on that shirt yesterday. It's been in a box for a couple years, and it's almost like God said, look what's right here. It's still here if you want to throw it on. So I've never thought about wearing it again, but the fact that I was getting out Christmas decorations and looking for stuff, and it just kind of popped up in a closet, I kind of might need to bring it out again.
Last year's was also very fun too, Max, because it was similar to the Lamar, where they thought they were God's gift to college football, and look at us. We're going to the ACC title. That was going to be their coronation, their crowning achievement of the first year of Brom. They were never going to lose another football game again. And then I think it took them like 8 months to win another one, while Ray Davis is just throwing L's down in Jack Harlow's face.
Oh
my God.
I forgot about that.
That was glorious.
I was going to say, the only thing that's disappointing, excuse me, about this season is they've lost too many games.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have loved to see them come in and, like, you know, be up for this ACC championship game or whatever. And we just, I know we can't knock them out of that game, but just ruin their season, knock them out of the playoffs.
I was actually mad at Stanford for that reason.
Because like if that Stanford didn't happen, they would be like, why can't we be a playoff team?
Doing like Drinkwitz,
And the money line would be a little better too.
It would be.
I actually didn't like them losing that game.
The coaches were asked about it today. Throw out the record books is what each one said. Uncle Jeff also had a quote too that he said, I hope everybody enjoys their Thanksgiving. I will probably wait to celebrate until after Saturday. And there were some people who were like, it's guaranteeing a win. I saw Jeff last year at Thanksgiving. He did not enjoy his Thanksgiving. I was not enjoying my Thanksgiving either. I was trying to confirm that Mark Stoops was going to Texas A&M. So, like, it wasn't a great Thanksgiving at the Roush house. But I didn't think that was a win guarantee. Drew, and even if he did, like, they both like each other. Stoops has interviewed Brian Brom for the job multiple times. Vince almost went and coached for Jeff at one point. Like,
didn't they play together at one point?
They played together with the Bills and the XFL. Yeah, so like they don't hate each other as much as they hated Satterfield, which kind of stinks. Because Satterfield, like, what I would do to just bring Scott Satterfield and Malik Cunningham back. Like, does Malik Cunningham have another COVID year? Because watching that guy lose to Kentucky, I mean, that's like the Jelly of the Month club, dude. It kept on giving.
Yeah, those were, you just knew how each game was going to go. You just had a feeling like.
Just wait until they got shoved into a locker.
Yeah. As soon as adversity hit, Louisville kind of crumbled in all those games. I'll be interested. How do each side, I think, deal with the adversity? Because Louisville comes out last year after Brom said all really year, biggest game, and they're trying to fight the first play and penalties. I felt like Kentucky was a more composed team throughout the game, and I felt like that's why they won. So how does that play out this time around?
Yeah,
feels like Louisville has really tampered down on that. Like, this is the most important game, messaging.
And I would too if I kept losing it.
I worry a little bit about the Kentucky side of things too, because it's their bowl game. You know, like this is the first time we've been in this instance where, like, there really isn't anything on the line other than just pride. That hasn't happened since this game got moved to the end of the year. Kentucky's been at least a 5-win team going into it every other time. So that part of this is I don't know what to expect, but I do think at least the Cutter angle of it, like, I feel like there is going to be a lot of trying to rally around the freshman, rally around the new guy who has looked good and you really want to build around for the future.
You mentioned how there's not an animosity between these two coaching staffs, and I agree, but this rivalry needs animosity.
Yes.
I feel like you're in his family. You'll probably see him at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You got to mess with him. L's down, straighten his mashed potatoes. I don't care what you got to do.
Sock him in the jaw as soon as he walks in.
But if it's not there, we got to create it. And you're the one with the inside track.
How does it feel to coach in a fake conference?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love ACC stuff. Yeah, like we'll just have It Just Means More hanging up when you walk in the door. We used to call, we still do for all, the Roush basement was Roush Arena instead of Rupp Arena.
Okay, thanks for explaining it.
Maybe we put all of the Louisville stuff, like we put the pictures down of all of the Louisville fans in the family, just like, I don't know about these guys over here.
Get the turkey wings with it down.
That'd be good. Yeah. What else can we do?
You're on the right track. These are all great ideas.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just wear royal blue, wear the UK blue everywhere.
Do you have a Barry on Brown jersey?
I do.
I think you should show up to family Thanksgiving wearing a Barry on Brown jersey.
All right, let's
L's down the band.
Yeah.
Who threw the best L's down, or who enjoyed L's down? And because there's a lot of really good candidates. Berrien is certainly one of them. I think I have the correct answer.
Yeah, Will
loved it. Because he knew it was going to be in every photo.
Yeah, he did the extra in 2021.
The swimming pool picture with his girlfriend where they were just like laid out and made an L down. And
the funniest one I've ever seen, it was It was our man Vito Tisdale, and they were warming up in the end zone. They were warming up in the end zone near the Louisville student section, and they're just hurling F-bombs at him, and he's just walking around like just throwing them everywhere.
There you go. Vito's an expert. Benny used to hit it a lot mid-game. I can't remember if Lynn did it much, but it's always good when your best player is participating. You mentioned Ray Davis and Jack Harlow.
Boom had the funniest L's down picture by far. Like, that was the one where I was like, oh, this is sticking.
And then it's a tradition. I got to scroll through a lot of them today, but the team photo with the trophy on the field, they're all doing it. Even had a few coaches and staff members kind of slyly throwing down by their side. So the team photos have been good.
To be honest, in 2018, I had no idea what it was. And when they were all doing it for the photo, I was like, oh, so because I'd gone so long where, like, different colleges have their little hand signals. And I was like, so this is UK's. Like, this is ours. I finally figured it out. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I asked one of the guys, I was like, why do we never do that more? And they're like, no, it's a Louisville thing. I said, oh, okay.
Did you play in that game?
I didn't get in, no. I had to sit on the sideline
the whole time.
The entire
time. That had to get boring, right?
It was boring. Yeah, 0 points.
Which, both years?
The second year, I punted once, I believe.
Oh, man.
At the very end. Because Lynn just dominated in that game. I think we ran for a record amount of rushing yards.
He ran for 8 miles in that game.
I think Lynn just scored another touchdown. Have you held up the Governor's Cup?
I have. It's heavy.
It's very heavy.
Well, so
very heavy.
We took it to Tin Roof, and we were going to drink out of it until Stoops called me and said, do not do what you're about to do. And I said, I'm not about to do anything, Coach. He said, I know what you're doing. Don't do it. And I said, Coach, I don't know what I'm about to do. If it fills with beer, it fills with beer. He said, do not. Mitch will lose his mind. And I said, all right.
The life of being
I was there for that.
That's why they gave him the fake one with the plastic.
I'm never one to stop a party, but when that thing came out at the bar, even I was like, I don't like this. I don't think we should be doing this. I wasn't the snitch, but I was uncomfortable watching that thing head towards the beer taps.
Because it would have been a great video of us drinking out of it.
Oh,
there was a quick turnaround, and it went right back to the car.
I've got
I had not to go back to Texas, but on the hand gesture thing, I love our fan base. We were horns down and too much. I get we're excited. We had one guy, I actually told him myself, so he was about 4 rows in front of me. I was like, please stop doing that. You're embarrassing us. Like, Texas fans are wanting to fight him. I mean, we're down 20, and he was doing it in people's face. It's one thing if you're walking down the street with your buddies and you hit it a few times. I mean, he's doing it inches from people's face when we're losing, and I thought that was a bad look for BBN throughout the trip.
I got to say, though, they are overly sensitive to horns down.
They were.
Like, there was somebody who listens to the show. He's from Houston. His friend, he was staying with his friend, and he was like, yeah, I won't throw horns down out of respect for him. And I'm like, who gives a damn? Like, it's just this. Like, it doesn't mean anything, you know? And I did love the guys who, after Pop Dumas Johnson's pick six, were on TV, and they were just like, they got to throw it down. It's like, that's your moment, right? Like, and honestly, that would make the whole road trip worth it for me.
I watched the replay when I got home, and I love that. They had 4 horns down in the TV screen. And I don't want to sound like I'm anti-horns down. I mean, we had some people doing it just a little too much, a little too obnoxious.
But is there such thing as too many L's down?
No. And you can do that in someone's face. It was just like walking down the street and go up to a stranger and almost hitting them in the nose with the horns down. I thought we needed to tone that down just a little. So
we need to break down some of the X's and O's. Luckett talked about the run defense, some of the defensive stats. Talked about Kentucky's offense. There's another stat we need to discuss. The flights from the Lexington airport and the Louisville airport. Lexington's a little outmatched, Drew. I'm worried about the flight situation.
Lexington was fun, and I flew Lexington to Charlotte and then Dallas back to Lexington. All 4 of my flights were UK pep rallies.
I would just like to say, if this was a regular show, we could pull up the banner of that Acro TV made. The hardest I've laughed. Shout out to you, Acro TV guy. I laughed like 4 times this weekend out loud over the sheriff's. Louisville has 8 direct flights to New York City every day. Lexington only has 1. That was great. Shout out to you.
And we had one. We just got it back. It just took a little break.
Yeah, it just took a break.
Kentucky fans are having some laughs about that in Austin.
Man, that guy, he's going to have a hard time figuring out how. He struggles to do the rivalry thing.
He's like, yeah, this will get him. And it's like, no one cares about what you're bringing up.
It is going to be chilly, though, and I know it's going to scare all those Cardinal Bird fans away from home. I don't know why they're so afraid of Lexington, But, like, it's sad, honestly, how little they care to support their football team. They play an hour and 15 minutes away, and they won't show up to go watch them. I get secondhand embarrassment for you, and maybe one day you'll actually care enough to go into another team's stadium and watch your team try to win. This year won't be the year, though. It'll be too cold. There will be a Pee Wee football game happening. So have fun doing whatever you're doing. I know we're not going to see you.
It's hot stove time for the Louisville Bats.
I mean, seriously, like this game, I think it'll be like, will there be more games at this game or the Vandy game? Because the Vandy was a hot crowd. It was coming off the Ole Miss win.
There will be less.
I still think it's going to be better than people give it credit for.
It'll be like 90% full.
Fans have been pretty good all year. This one's kind of funny because it's a holiday, and maybe some people that normally go are out, and maybe
but
you can
it's
replace
cold, though.
them
And Louisville fans, they aren't good. They aren't good at showing up to things.
It'll be 80 to 90% full. This crowd, it's never really the best crowd of the year since they've moved it, but it's still a solid crowd. But you're right.
I think Louisville fans
do
a
not.
few more tickets.
Yeah, I think that helps. But Louisville fans do not go to this game.
Yeah, they just don't.
They don't go to their own
fans. Kentucky fans go to that stadium, which is why it's fun, because we get to just go sit in their seats, go to their party deck, and then win the game.
It's really going to be the one true football weather game of the year. We haven't had a cold game yet, right?
I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's everyone rugged up and drinking and having a good time. It's going to be awesome.
We're going to have so many press box coffees.
Oh, my gosh. But by the way, Texas, you ran out of coffee before halftime?
Oh, I didn't know about this.
Oh, God. I like community coffee. Like, this is a nice perk, and then it's just gone.
What was the food like?
Green hot dogs.
Green hot dogs.
I should have got a picture of this hot dog. It was so disgusting.
Max, have you ever done, like, shirtless in cold weather games?
No, and I can't believe the people that do that. We played Tennessee.
At the Browns game?
we played Tennessee one time, and it must have been, I'm trying to convert this to Fahrenheit, it must have been 25, I guess. I don't know. Is that cold? That's cold, right?
That's cold.
Yeah. And we went out there, and I had 16 layers on. Like, I was like, this is freezing. We went out there, talked to their specialist. Their specialist had nothing. And we were like, what are you doing? They said, our coach doesn't let us wear anything underneath. We got to be tough during this. I said, well, unlucky for you, because I'm wearing 25 layers. I'm not going shirtless or anything like that.
Oh, man. Well, I will not be shirtless. Hopefully, I will be well. We're on the struggle bus right now. We're about to hop off it, hopefully. Mark Stoops had a lot of interesting comments today that we'll parse through tomorrow. Changing up the podcasting schedule a little bit this week to give you something to listen to if you're traveling for Thanksgiving, like I will be and so many others will be. Please stay safe out there. But 11 personnel coming at you Tuesday afternoon, around lunchtime, give or take?
Yeah,
like
fluid situation like this December is going to be.
Yeah, very fluid situation. So we'll talk a lot more about that. But I will say it was nice to have a press conference where Stoops was like, I'm not whining about anything. I'm not trying to make a headline.
His mind's made up.
Yeah, like there's like a very much a I haven't heard this version of Mark Stoops in like 6 weeks where he's just, this is how we're going to go about it. This is how we're going to attack it. We're moving forward. And if you listen to it start to finish, you might feel a little bit better about the future.
There was 1 foot in, 1 foot out for a long time this season from his comments, and I think now he's like, all right, I'm in, then we're doing this, yes, we're committing to this, let's do it properly and do it with the respect that it deserves, which is good because the stuff that he's been saying recently has been much better. I mean, it sounds like he's in and he's ready to turn this thing around.
And hopefully we see a quarterback of the future on Saturday that can give a little bit more life around this program.
It would make people feel a whole lot better if Cutter Boley went around, threw it around the yard, and kept that Governor's Cup in Lexington, Kentucky. This has been a fun show, a little all over the place. But like we said, we'll have more tomorrow. Kentucky basketball game tomorrow. You're on the road Wednesday in somewhere
I
in
don't want
Kentucky.
to think about my week. I hope I get to see my family for 10 minutes.
We'll have a pigskin preview on
When are you
Wednesday.
leaving for the trip?
I just rather just be in the moment with you all right now and not think
We're
about
gonna
what's
live in the
happening.
moment.
If we lose on Friday night, I'm on that trip. So
Let's go Birds.
We win.
Let's go Birds. And let's go Cats. We'll see you at the Governor's Cup on Saturday.